बहुत कुछ खोया है. It's been a journey of a lot of ups and downs. I was nervous and I was excited and a lot of things were going on in my mind. I also realized that it's a huge responsibility. And he would always also say that this is very political, कि जिनका दिल्ली में मन लग जाता है उनका क्षेत्र में सब खत्म हो जाता है. So I'm also conscious of that. Politics puts you in such situations that you have to, rush ahead and keep people aside, push people aside and find your way in the center. But I'm unable to do that. But we'll see if we can do it my way. It was BJP's government and a lot of cases were imposed on my brother who was the MLA there, on my mother. So it really impacted me. Since 2014, the politics has drastically changed. It's my country and I don't like to see where it's going. Triple Talaq, according to Islam, is shirk. Right? It's not acceptable. It has been misconstrued. What it appears to me now is that they have just criminalized a civil matter. If in Hindu marriage law, you get a divorce, there is no way you put the person in jail. So to me, their motive seems dubious. It only seems that they need another excuse to put Muslim men in jail. I'm not against the idea of it. I'm against how the BJP did it. Personally, I have a lot of issues with this government because I've had to face a lot at their hands. What BJP usually does is it tries to put people in a situation where they back down, and when you back down, it attacks you more. So that was my thought, that I'm not going to back down. My family is not going to back down. We're going to fight them. There were two families and we are both Gujars. They're Hindu Gujars, we're Muslim Gujars. But there's never been any animosity. That thought never came to my mind that मुझे बदला लेना है या मैंने बदला ले लिया. बदला लिया है तो बीजेपी से लिया है और किसी से नहीं. Shah Rukh Khan has been my favorite actor since I was a kid, and the love has just grown. India is equal to Shah Rukh Khan for me. About nikah or registered marriage, I don't know. Maybe we can have both, a registered marriage and just the ceremonial nikah at home.
Hello and welcome to our weekly talk show, The Interview, and our special segment, Coffee on Sunday. She is a third-generation politician. She is also one who extensively campaigned for her brother, who was in jail under the Gangsters Act. The story is different, is what she had then said in his defence. 2 years on, Iqra Hasan Chowdhury stepped into the fray to contest her first Lok Sabha election. Her victory was written about. A 29-year-old who did her masters in London came back to India to take the family legacy forward. But for Iqra, it is much more than that. It was to vanquish her opponent who had defeated her mother in 2019. For someone who felt she was too shy for politics, she brings promise, resolve and commitment as a young first-time MP. Iqra Hasan speaks to us about this and much more, including her fascination for Shah Rukh Khan in this edition of Coffee on Sunday. Welcome to the show, Iqra Hasan, and thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Let me begin with politics being in your blood. Both your parents were in politics. Your grandfather was in politics. So what are the lessons learnt and unlearnt?
I would like to first acknowledge that I come from a very privileged background, and it is because of that background that I have had the honor to have this platform and to be where I am today. So, but there's a lot of things that I've had to go through meanwhile, and बहुत कुछ खोया है. So it's been a journey of a lot of ups and downs. There's been a lot of learning. So there are a lot of things that I've sort of imbibed in me since a very young age. But it never gets, you always learn. Every day is a learning. So still learning, still trying to figure out my feet in the ground, and hopefully will make my parents prouder and will take it forward from where they have left.
It's like the first day in school, you said.
Yeah. So the first day, I was talking to my colleagues who were also young MPs, and we were all discussing how we're younger than the other parliamentarians, and how it feels like the orientation of a college, of a new college. So it's still like that, and we're learning the ropes, trying to figure out our way inside, and I think it'll take some time to sink all of that in. So, but we're hoping to bring something fresh, a fresh perspective to it, and we'll see how it goes.
What was the feeling and emotion when you stepped into Parliament and when you took oath?
I was nervous and I was excited, and a lot of things were going on in my mind because when I was young, when I was very young in class 2, I remember walking up those stairs with my father, and I was that time there was a guard, and very playfully he had said to me that you also have to come here, okay, like your father. And somehow this memory is very vivid in my mind, and I think there was some destiny to it if we recollect it like that. So it was surreal, but I also realized that it's a huge responsibility, and I just hope that I don't let people down.
What has impacted you the most and what is it that has left a mark?
Lots of things, but my father would always say to me, uh, I was very young when he passed away, so, and I was in a hostel, and he was always busy, so we didn't get enough time together. But I distinctly remember he would always say to me that humility can be your biggest trait, and you should never let go of it, no matter where you go, where you reach. So that is one thing I carry forward with me. And he would always also say that this is very political, कि जिनका दिल्ली में मन लग जाता है उनका क्षेत्र में सब खत्म हो जाता है. So I'm also conscious of that.
दिल्ली में मन लग गया, दिल्ली में मन लगना शुरू हुआ या बहुत मुश्किल हो रही है?
दिल्ली में मन हमेशा से, because I've lived most of my life here. My schooling was here, my college was here. So पर अब दूसरी तरह की दिल्ली देखने को मिल रही है. देखी वो पहले भी थी, बट नाउ एज अ पार्टिसिपेंट लुटियंस दिल्ली में मुझे पार्टिसिपेट करने का मौका मिल रहा है. सो दैट इज़ वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द दिल्ली आई हैव अर्लियर एक्सपीरियंस्ड. सो स्टिल ट्राइंग टू फाइंड माई प्लेस देयर. And man to, I don't feel there's a better city than Delhi. This I'm saying having been to London and having had that fantasy of always going there. But I think Delhi is Delhi, and it has my heart. It's always had my heart.
In fact, I was coming to that Lady Shri Ram College, Queen Mary's School, International Law from London, from there to here. Is it by choice and is politics by choice, or you felt the need to follow and carry forward the family legacy? What was it?
Although I always had interest in politics, but I never had a participatory interest in it. I'm very shy by nature.
In fact, you said that you felt you were too shy for politics.
I still feel in some places where, because politics puts you in such situations that you have to, rush ahead and keep people aside, push people aside and find your way in the center. But I'm unable to do that. So that's why I feel I lack certain habits that you require, certain traits that you require to make it big in politics. But we'll see if we can do it my way. So I never thought I would be able to do this. But then when I came back during the second wave of COVID, I came home, and since the government had changed in UP, it was BJP's government, and a lot of cases were imposed on my brother, who was the MLA there, on my mother. So, and to have Gangster Act put on such a person. So it really impacted me, and there was no choice basically but to stay back at home and not go back to London. So I had to stay back, take charge of the household, take charge of the politics, and that's how I actually entered politics. It wasn't under very favorable circumstances, but I think that is what God had planned for me. And so since then, I was actively involved since 2021, and we've had to face very tough times at the in UP because of the BJP government. They had frozen our accounts. We could not sell anything. We could not buy anything. So financially, a lot was restricted, and legally, there were a lot of battles going on in 3 different courts, and I was all alone at home. So in that situation, I was very frustrated. I was very angry, and meanwhile, I had to take control of a lot of things. So it was at that point that I realized that I want to fight these people openly, and I would like to have a chance to defeat them, because since they had troubled us so much and we were already fighting them, so I thought, why not do it openly? Why not fight it out openly? So that's where the motivation for this particular election came from. And I was also offered the ticket from the party, so I thought this is my chance, and I'm very glad and I'm very blessed and honored that God God was on our side and we managed to defeat such a party.
You said politics your way. That's the phrase you just used. What does that mean? And how would your politics, or how would you handle politics differently from your parents? Because there is a generation gap and things have changed.
A lot has changed. Time has changed. The kind of politics that was happening at my parents' time also has changed, and drastically, I think, when the country's history will be written. So since 2014, the politics has drastically changed. What I meant when I said my way was that there is not a need to always shout and yell. When you have something important to say, when you want to put a point across, you necessarily don't have to wave fingers and yell at the top of your voice. I think it can be done otherwise also, and that is, if you look at the way that I give speeches, I'm not very good at them, but I've managed to give a few, and that is entirely opposite to the way a politician would do. But I have been accepted, and I hope more people like this would come forward and we can all make a tribe. So I think simplicity and clarity of thought is what I mean by my way of politics.
But in the parliament of today, you need to be heard, which means your decibel levels have to be very high. And so, how will you manage, and are you confident of really speaking out when 500 plus people are listening?
I've given this a lot of thought, and in fact, I've been thinking about it since the time I took oath. So,
will I be able to? Will I not be able to?
Yeah, because there's a lot of heckling that happens in there. So I hope I can stand my ground. I hope I can deliver on it. But I've seen a lot of examples of especially very strong and opinionated women in there who speak in a way that I can relate to. For example, Miss Supriya Suleji, when she puts a point across, it reaches where it's supposed to.
While in London, you were in the news for opposing the Citizenship Amendment Act, or the CA. Tell me about that. How and why? Because you said you were not really interested in politics.
I always had interest in politics. I just meant I didn't have participatory interest. And but when some things bother you so much, so you have to get up and you have to take a stand. So that was my way of doing that, and a lot of people joined us. We had a whole group of Indian students who had formed a WhatsApp group, and we did protest for a long time. And whenever we had the time to really send a message back home that, you know, it's not something that goes along with the idea of India that we all have in mind, and it is recognized that what is happening is wrong, and it is recognized worldwide. So while there, I think it was more important to do it there, because when messages were coming in from all over the world back to India, I think that's when it actually struck the government's mind, and I think that's when it made them take it back or not follow it through. So it was very important, and I still am totally against it.
You have said that you do not support triple talaq, but you've slammed the BJP over the issue. So I see that perhaps as a contradiction.
While I feel there was a need to change the law, I don't think it was supposed to be done in the way it was done. First and foremost, the community and the thinkers within the community were not asked, were not consulted about it. So, triple talaq, according to Islam, is shirk, right? It's not acceptable. It doesn't happen in the normal day-to-day life. So, when you give one talaq, whether you say it 100 times or you say it once or you say it 3 times, it means you have divorced your wife, like how the process of restitution of marriage. So you get a 6 months break. In this, you get a 1 month break. So 1 period cycle. After that, if you can reconnect with the wife, that's fine. And if you do that, then the second time, if there is some fighting between you and you give the talaq the second time, so that talaq, no matter you say it 3 times, 100 times, that is when it will be considered the second talaq. Then you get another month's, another period cycle's time. And if you come back together and then again you feel like it's not going well, and that is the third talaq. So you get time to think, you get time to come back to each other, and that is how it happens even now in Sunnis. At least because I'm a Sunni, I can speak for myself. So that is how it happens, but it has been misconstrued. So I think the thinkers within the community should have been consulted, and a lot more thought should have been given to it, because what it appears to me now is that they have just criminalized a civil matter. If in Hindu marriage law you get a divorce, there is no way you put the person in jail. What was the issue? The issue was that people were randomly giving, that's what the BJP says, that people were randomly giving talaq, and the wives had no way to ask for property, ask for inheritance. That was the major issue. उसको resolve करने के लिए ट्रिपल तलाक का बिल लाया गया, लेकिन वो resolve हुआ ही नहीं, क्योंकि if the husband wants to end things with the woman, then the woman wants some sort of financial independence. But through this bill, you have taken that away from her. You have not resolved that problem for her, because you've put that person in jail. Now the person cannot provide for her or for the children. So how are you solving the main issue? It's not been solved. So to me, their motive seems dubious. It only seems that they need another excuse to put Muslim men in jail. So that's why I'm against it. I'm not against the idea of it. I'm against how the BJP did it.
You also said that in the next 6 months, the India bloc would form the government. Isn't that wishful thinking?
It is, but every coalition government is a wishful thinking, I think. Right now, if the treasury bench or like the government thinks that they can complete all 5 years, I think that is also wishful thinking, because you never know what happens. You never know when it all falls off. If I'm thinking wishfully, I think they're operating wishfully.
To quote you, Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar will keep the government on its toes, and you said it would be a delight to watch that. Isn't that kind of a negative politics, and especially from someone of your age?
No, I don't think so. Apart from how they've led the country, where they've led the country, personally, I have a lot of issues with this government. because I've had to face a lot at their hands, my family personally, and I don't agree with BJP's ideology. I don't accept it. I will never be okay with it. What matters to me is that I at least managed to defeat one BJP seat. So that's more important to me. I have issues with the party, with the party's ideology, with the way they're running the country. It's my country, and I don't like to see where it's going. And so I'm very happy that other people will have more of a say in this government. That's what I meant, that it'll be a delight to watch other people having a say in this government and not bills being randomly passed. And so I'm happy that this time it's not a clear majority, and it's a win for us in any case. So I'm hoping that bills will be discussed. I'm hoping people will have more of a say.
You have many followers on the social media. How much has the social media contributed to your success?
Um I think quite a lot. It's been a blessing till now, but we have to tread very carefully because it can, in a minute's time, it can turn either way. So now that I'm a representative, responsible representative, so I will be more mindful of how I am being perceived and how I'm being portrayed.
You know, when your brother was jailed under the Gangster Act and you campaigned for him, but when you were defending him, you had said the story is very different from what is being said. What is the real story? And what is your version of that story?
The story is that my brother is a third time MLA from the same seat. And if the way that he's been vilified by the government and by other people associated with the government, I don't mean to say the whole media, but certainly some. So it's because he's able to retain something that the BJP wants to take away. He's able to listen to the people better. He's able to raise their voice better, and he has been able to hold that ground even when two times there has been a BJP government in UP now. So they have targeted him, and they've tried to pull us all down. And it's not just happened with us, it's happening with Azam Khan, it's happening with a lot of people from our party. So I think they're pinpointing and targeting people. That's why so much was done to my brother, because all the cases that he has on him were post 2017. So none of it happened before 2017. 2017 is when the Yogi government came to power. And so all of the cases were imposed on him, on my mother. So I think they've targeted us, our family particularly, so as to take us out of the political scenario from the constituency. And people realize that, people know the reality.
You know, you spoke about being victimized and your family being victimized. How will your victory or your being an MP change that? Because the state government and the central government still remain the same.
The candidate who was opposite me was also the sitting MP, but still there was nothing on ground to show for it. There were no government schemes that had reached our people. There was nothing, no school, no colleges that could have come to my constituency. It's not only about having governments, it's also about having the will to do something. And I have that, and I will fight tooth and nail to fight for my people.
No, but your family being victimized, how would your victory change that?
I mean, we're still fighting the legal battles, but it's changed a lot. We've overcome a few cases.
But your being an MP, will it help?
I don't think so. It has direct connection to that, but I think it puts me in a position of power. So I will have a lot more say in the local sort of administration. So I think, but it still doesn't have a direct correlation to how my family is being targeted and affected. What BJP usually does is it tries to put people in a situation where they back down, and when you back down, it attacks you more. So that was my thought, that I'm not going to back down. My family is not going to back down. We're going to fight them, and then they might step back. So I've seen that happen, and I think that's how it's going to be now.
In your conversation with me, you spoke a lot about your father, what you learned from him. You also said at one point that you inherited your political acumen from him. Didn't your mother's politics influence you?
Um, my mother has had very different sort of influence on me. My father was the one who was more politically inclined. He's the reason why my whole family is in politics. My mother was a housewife when he was alive. She entered politics after he passed away. What my mother has done is she has taken over on under tumultuous times, and she's held us all together. In fact, even in this election, when the RLD coalition broke off, I thought I shouldn't contest, and my brother and me, we were contemplating that. That is when my mother stepped in, and she was like, "No, you winning or losing will come after you fight. You have to fight." So, in times when we are very doubtful, my mother comes as a beacon of hope, and she instills hope in us. She gives us strength, and she always picks us up. So she's inspired me in that way. And whatever I am, however I am, my demeanor, my education, my upbringing, that is all thanks to my mother, because she's been alone and she's done it all alone, the politics, the house, and us, all of us. So she's the pillar of strength, but I would still say the politics comes from my father.
Why do you think the Modi magic, quote unquote, failed this time? And what has contributed to your win, considering you were pitched against a senior politician, an MP?
What happened this time was that the national narrative and the one man being everything agenda that BJP usually comes ahead with uh, did not float as they hoped it would, because people are now, I think, getting over it, and now they want to talk about their issues that affect their everyday lives. So this time the election was very localized. It was on local issues, local problems, and people didn't care who was coming to campaign for them 1 month before the election, because they've been facing hard times all throughout. So the last minute sort of bringing all the big guns to the campaign did not have that sort of effect as they were hoping to be.
What contributed to your win?
All of us unifying, coming together in that, I think that contributed to my win. And the fact that I was able to connect to people from all communities, that contributed to my win.
You know, you also vanquished a person who had defeated your mother in 2019. So, how emotional was that battle?
No, that was not something I had in mind or in my heart. The negativity was never local. It was never against a particular candidate. There were two families, and we are both Gujars. They are Hindu Gujars, we are Muslim Gujars. But there's never been any animosity. It continues only till election, and after that, it's all over. So I've always learned that. I've always seen my father do that. It's never against the opponent, the person. Rather, it was against the ideology. So that thought never came to my mind that मुझे बदला लेना है या मैंने बदला ले लिया. बदला लिया है तो बीजेपी से लिया है और किसी से नहीं.
You have studied abroad and also been out of the state for a very long time because you were in Delhi. Aren't you, in that sense, an outsider?
I am, but I think that is more for people to decide. If I make them feel aloof, if I don't relate to them, if I am not accessible to them, I think this is for them to answer. I've always gone home also, so it's not like I was never aware of what's happening at home. But you're right, I have lived most of my life in Delhi, but I still would like to take credit of the fact that I do understand their issues, and I do talk in their dialect, I dress up like them, and I live my life as simply as they do. So I understand them and they understand me, and in a way we relate to each other. Maybe going abroad has exposed me to a lot more than people back home are exposed to. So I think in that sense, maybe I'll be a better help to put their point across in a place like Delhi in parliament.
Except it's taken away a lot of your me time
Oh, yes. There's no me time
anymore.
anymore.
You followed a walk alone strategy. Just explain that to me.
So, although it's been said that I've done it all alone, but I was never alone. In fact, after the 22 UP election, I was told by our party chief Akhilesh Yadav ji that I was going to contest this election, whether on an RLD ticket or on an SP ticket. So to have that assurance 2 years back, I think that is something that I can't even define how helpful that was for me. And it gave me a clarity of thought. It gave me clarity to move ahead, to work without having any doubt in my mind. So I always had great support, and my family, I had great help from them. My brother, who was operating from behind the scene, he let me be the hero.
So, what was this walk alone strategy politically?
Okay, so there was a lot of people were coming from BJP. I don't know, 4 times the UP chief minister had come, twice the prime minister had come, and the Haryana chief minister.
To campaign against you.
Yes. So, and the sugarcane minister, everybody was just, the whole of the cabinet was there. So, I didn't have that sort of, people with me to campaign for me. I can't compete with them. And so I thought might as well take a U-turn from it and just do it all alone. So that will be a nice reply to it. So that's why we thought ki if you're bringing in so many big guns, we will not bring anybody. So that was it might be naive, but that was the thought behind it.
And it worked.
And it worked.
The toughest and the fun moments about being a politician.
What I'm not able to still figure out is how am I supposed to talk to people, answer phone calls, and be everywhere at the same time. The time is always less. No matter how much time you have, it's always less. And that's the most difficult part. The best part is I love to interact with people. I love to sit with them and chat and know what their day-to-day lives are, especially women in villages, because they sometimes have the most hilarious things to say and the most hilarious take on big issues that are going on in the country.
Mr. Kapil Sibal, the eminent lawyer turned politician, is your role model. And I'm told your favorite actor is Shah Rukh Khan.
Yes.
So tell me about both the men.
Mr. Kapil Sibal, I've had the honor to interact with him and to work with him a little bit on one of my brother's cases. And so I saw the way that he works and the way he is, and his presence is felt in the Supreme Court. It's just something you can only watch. If there is one man who deserves everything he has and more, is Mr. Sibal.
Shah Rukh Khan, your favorite actor?
Shah Rukh Khan has been my favorite actor since I was a kid, and the love has just grown. And India is equal to Shah Rukh Khan for me because of movies. So like Main Hoon Na and Chak De, all of these movies have instilled a lot of patriotism in me, and I think in a lot of people. And when you go abroad, and if people get to know that you're from India, the synonym with that is Shah Rukh Khan. So he's just always made us proud, and I'm just in awe of him and admire him a lot.
Finally, a question everyone wants to know, but I don't want to intrude on your private space, but I have to ask. You're not married, man in your life, when will you marry? And would it be a nikah or would it be a registered marriage like Sonakshi Sinha's?
I haven't given a lot of thought to all of these things, given that a lot is going on. So for now, the focus is on work, the new title that I have and the new responsibility I have. But as and when things, developments take place in my personal space, I think people will know. For now, there is nobody. For now, there are no talks of marriage. And if there are any, everybody will know in a dignified way. And about nikah or registered marriage, I don't know. Maybe we can have both. a registered marriage and just the ceremonial nikah at home.
Iqra Hasan, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for this wonderful interview.
Thank you so much. I had a great time.